Safety concerns have caused big changes to the popular Queen of Hearts game in Austintown.
And we'll let you know what options the business has and when the next drawing will be.
Plus, 5 murders in 3 days. We'll tell you what leaders in one Northeast Ohio city are saying about the deadly weekend.
And Boardman's police chief is sending a very strong message tonight about a levy on the ballot this November.
The Pope travels east in Cuba, where he's greeted by the cheers of thousands. I'm Chris Martinez in Havana, Cuba. I'll have that story coming up.
Another cool night is in store for the Valley, but a warm-up is on the way. I'll let you know what you can expect for your first few days of fall coming up.
Investigative, in-depth, in the Valley. WKBN 27 First News at 11 starts now.
I'm not upset at all. No, I've been coming to a mall for a while now. It's a good time.
What started almost a year ago as a way to increase business at Austintown's Barry Dingle's restaurant has prompted a postponement. It simply became too big. Well, thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Stan Boney.
And I'm Erica Thomas. The weekly crowds have grown to more than 8,000 people, and the next jackpot will likely be more than $1 million.
It's way more than anyone ever expected, which is why those running Barry Dingle's today decided to postpone this Wednesday's drawing. All afternoon, the line at Austintown's Barry Dingle's restaurant stretched from the ticket cellar, running along the south edge of the parking lot before arching to run parallel with Raccoon Road.
Well, we were here for about an hour and a half this afternoon, and the line for the most part was about 100 people long, and the wait time about 40 minutes.
People were still buying tickets, $40 and $50 at a time, even though Wednesday's drawing has been postponed. Barry Dingle's management has promised a decision on the next drawing by week's end. It's looking for a place in Austintown that will allow alcohol and food.
So there is a chance that you will have it here.
Pretty good chance, yeah.
The people I talked with seem to understand that the enormity of Barry Dingle's Queen of Hearts game has surpassed anyone's expectations.
They might be just a little overwhelmed, and they're just trying to address the fact that it's gotten so big.
I'm anxious to know where it's going to be and what day it would be, because, you know, work conflictions, stuff like this, so it'd be nice to have a good leeway in it anyway.
Austintown's Lisa Hughes sat at a table and filled out her tickets. She could care less that it's being postponed.
I wasn't going to come if it was here because I don't want to be around all those people, the big crowd of people.
You could settle for half the pot.
Yeah.
Now, what Lisa was alluding to is that the winner must be present to collect the entire jackpot, and if they're not there, they get half of the jackpot. But one viewer emailed us today upset with that policy. He asked to remain anonymous, but made a good point. He wrote, quote, "We already purchased our tickets, but will now be out of town. They need to change the policy for drawing to winner need not be present, since they are changing the date after they already sold the tickets."
We're continuing to get more details about a weekend shooting that hurt a Warren man. 23-year-old Jeremy Provitt is listed in serious but stable condition after he was found shot Saturday morning. It happened on First Street around 9:30. Neighbors heard gunshots and saw Provitt lying on the grass outside. They called 911 and took him to a local hospital. Police were able to interview him briefly before he was taken by medical helicopter to a Cleveland area hospital. There's still no suspect at this time, but police say the area has seen a lot of crime recently.
Well, it's pretty obvious that it's a problem area for us, so yeah, we're going to be looking at it to, try and figure out why and to keep it to a low roar.
Now, police are asking if you have any information about this shooting to call the Warren Police Department. Up in Cleveland, the city's mayor and police chief are talking about the violence there over the weekend. In 3 days, 5 people were murdered and others were hurt, including a 10-year-old boy. At a press conference today, the city's police chief and mayor said there's no place in the city for this type of crime.
People who engage in the street life and commit crimes do not have the right to take innocence. And that's what we have said, and that is what the community has said.
The mayor is also calling for more accountability for gun owners. He said he'd like more measures to prevent crime like this in the future.
A child was hospitalized this afternoon after falling from a window on Youngstown's south side. Youngstown police say it happened about 3:30 near the intersection of Parkview and Glenwood. The child was in stable condition. An adult was arrested and could be charged.
Heroin overdoses in the valley continue to climb, and now the Mahoning County District Board of Health is fighting that epidemic with Project Dawn.
27 First News reporter Derek Lewis explains how drug overdose education and a Narcan distribution program may help with the fight against drugs.
Nearly 700 people died from heroin overdoses in Ohio in 2012. That's about 600 more than the number of deaths in 2000.
It seems to be that it's on the rise, and it seems to be a trend that's happening, unfortunately, specifically in this area and the surrounding counties.
As heroin overdoses increase in the valley, the Mahoning County District Board of Health is giving away Project Dawn kits. Inside each kit, there's naloxone spray, also known as Narcan, to tackle the overdose.
The opioid takes full effect, suppress your respiratory, suppress your cardiac system. What this medicine does is it blocks the receptors to allow that to happen. It actually prevents it from happening and reverses it.
The Mental Health and Recovery Board's executive director says this was a collaboration on such an important issue.
Both mental health and recovery has to work hand in hand with the Department of Health. So those dollars came down from the state, and we were able then to allocate dollars to the Mahoning County General Health District to provide Project Dawn to the community.
Mahoning County was ranked as the 19th county in Ohio for drug overdose deaths from 2007 to 2012. In the following survey, a year later, the county was ranked 14th. Project Dawn helps provide a chance for recovery before death.
In order to provide that hope, we have to start with steps like Project Dawn that help someone in the midst of overdose to be able to come back from that and have a second chance at recovery.
In Mahoning County, Derek Lewis, WKBN 27 First News.
Well, WKBN has been following the developments on the license plate cameras on Interstate 680. Today we learned if you are speeding, you're going to get caught. There's no way around it. Still, a lot of drivers are mad about the tickets that they received in the mail. Some have already been caught multiple times. The warning period ended in August, and the grace period ended on Friday.
Opto Traffic did have a system in place for the first month where even if they are getting multiple tickets, they're only actually getting one ticket that they would be required to pay for. Now that period has since passed as of September the 18th, and if you're going to get multiple tickets now, you will begin to get multiple tickets.
Well, here's some advice. If you get a ticket, check the date on it. From July 14th through August 17th, the ticket should only be a warning. If you received multiple tickets between August 18th through last Friday, you should only get one fine. We're told drivers can request a hearing if you received more than one fine in that time period. A nice way to start a Monday. Some would call it cool. I prefer seasonal.
And that's exactly how it should be, right? Well, let's check in with Corey Frumpkin now to find out if it's going to continue through the rest of the work week. Corey?
Well, Stan and Erica, those temperatures are going to be a little bit on the cooler side heading into tonight, but only by a little bit. We'll see temperatures just slightly below average into the upper 40s eventually as we start the day tomorrow. Right now, though, we are sitting at 57 degrees at the airport, so just a very comfortable evening is in store for much of the Mahoning and the Shenango valleys. We're sitting at 60 right now in Warren, 56 in Newton Falls, 61 in Cortland. We're a little bit cooler as we head off towards the south along the Ohio River. Wellsville sitting at 55. At 56 in Calcutta. And here's a look at radar right now. Very quiet, and we can thank a very large area of high pressure. I'm going to zoom out way over the entire Great Lakes right now. Hardly a cloud to speak of, and that's keeping most of that wet weather off toward our east into central portions of Pennsylvania tonight. We'll start to see some sunshine into the day tomorrow, and also some warmer temperatures as we go throughout the next 7 days, and even welcoming fall. The very first day is on Wednesday. I will let you know coming up what you can expect as we head into Wednesday, as well as over the next 7 days in that forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
A First News follow-up to a story we've been keeping a close eye on. After contamination issues at Mill Creek Park, the Mahoning County District Board of Health has stepped up water testing. The district is looking to see if recent rainstorms had an impact on the parks. Samples were taken early today and results could be back as soon as tomorrow. The regular weekly test will still be Wednesday.
Well, Pope Francis is still in Cuba tonight. He'll be there for a while tomorrow. Then he heads for the United States.
He reached his final destination on the Caribbean island nation this afternoon, where he prayed before Cuba's version of the Virgin Mary. Chris Martinez has that story from Havana.
A cheering crowd and singing children greeted Pope Francis as he arrived in Santiago, Cuba. The Pope left a gift and prayed before Cuba's most precious religious icon, patron saint Our Lady of Charity El Cobre. Earlier, Francis visited Holguín, the birthplace of Cuba's president Raúl Castro and his brother Fidel. During an open-air mass in front of nearly 150,000 people, the Pope urged Cubans to overcome their resistance to change and praised the country's mission houses.
They are small signs of God's presence in our neighborhoods.
He said the private homes that opened their doors to priests and worshipers as makeshift churches deserve a special mention for helping Cubans to maintain the faith after the Castro regime clamped down on religion.
The Pope returned to the Virgin of Charity Shrine tomorrow morning to celebrate his final Mass in Cuba. He'll also meet with some Cuban families before he departs for Washington, D.C. and his first ever trip to the U.S. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Havana, Cuba.
Now, the President and First Lady will greet Francis when he arrives at Joint Base Andrews tomorrow afternoon.
He'll address Congress on Thursday, then he travels to New York City and then on to Philadelphia.
Obviously a busy week across the country and a busy night here on WKBN as we welcome Stan Boney to his first newscast here on Channel 27 after more than 3 decades with WYTV.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about this position. I actually made my first appearance earlier on the 5 o'clock and the 6 o'clock news, so I'll be out covering the stories early and I'll be sitting with you during the 10 and the 11 o'clock news, and I'm really looking forward to it.
And I'm honored because obviously you're a legend here in the Valley and we've sat next to each other in the newsroom for a couple of years now, but it's great to do that on air.
We're friends,
as well.
now we get to work together.
Exactly.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Thanks, Dan.
Yes.
Well, still ahead here on the Valley's most watched news at 11, we'll tell you the strong message Boardman's police chief has about a levy on the ballot this November.
Plus, Pennsylvania's top attorney having a very important document suspended.
It has never happened that I'm aware of.
What this move means for Kathleen Kane and the people of Pennsylvania.
And another dry and very quiet evening, but will that dry weather stick around over the next 7 days? I'll have that answer for you coming up right after this quick break.
You see news happening, send pictures or video to 27 First News. Just go to WKBN.com or our mobile app and click Report It.